All right, in today's video, I'll be showing you how you can create a moving average formula with an adjustable window size in Notion using a related summary database. As you can see, I've created an arbitrary metrics database that I'll be relating to the average summary database, and will depend on these relations to calculate the moving average and vary the window size. So if we want to find the average of the 5 most recent entries or the last 30 or all of them. And so as you can see, there are 3 entries. I am going to relate them to the moving average summary database entry like so. As you can see, there is a formula called moving average, and then a window size, which is a number property within the average summary database that I've created here. As you can imagine, Notion formulas are basically being taken over by AI, like you see here. If you're not paying for a premium plan, you're not going to have access to this or limited access to this. But if you do have a premium plan and you're paying for the Formula AI, I can imagine that most of the videos I've shared on this channel can be sort of AI'd to some degree. Anyways, I hate to say it, but the idea of using AI basically rules some of the aspects of this channel obsolete. But if you're genuinely curious to learn Notion formulas, I still highly recommend viewing some of the videos I've created on this channel and exploring the database automations and dynamic variables that I think are highly underutilized and native to Notion with a premium Notion account. But with that being said, this is a good formula because it helps us go over a variety of aspects of Notion formulas. And again, this video is meant to be accessible and easy to approach. And so just want to get that out of the way before we get going here. We're going to be using the let's formula. Title it let's, shift enter a couple times, close it out so that we have some real estate to work with. We basically want to create a list of all those metrics and find the average of those, and then also sort of take a certain window or the 5 recent or the 30 most recent entries to calculate the average. So obviously to calculate a list of items, we're going to need to map a relation. And so I'm going to title this variable list, and then I'll start defining what it is. We're going to use the map formula function, and we're going to be taking the related metrics database and filtering it and sorting it by the recency of that metric. And so we're going to be filtering it. So we're going to do dot filter, and we want to filter it by the creation time of the metric that's been created. So if we do current dot and then click on creation time, we can filter by the sorted version of creation time. So we can do dot sort after that filter criteria to specify that we want to create a list based on recency. And so this is really important and something that I haven't really covered in the channel, but I think sorting it by recency can be very simple in this way when you filter the criteria and use this sort function. Now we want to take the list of metrics that we're measuring. In this case, we have numerical metric, which is pulling from the metrics database. Now that I've mapped this list, I'm going to close it out with a comma and then type in list so that the formula error resolves, and we can pause for a sec. I'm going to just add in 1, 2, and 3 as the numerical metric for these entries. And as you can see, we've listed out that list. Entry 3 is going to be the most recent. And so I'm just going to show you recency by creating another entry, entry 4, and then I'm going to make this 9 for it to stick out. Again, it's not showing in this moving average formula because it's not properly related. So we're going to need to make sure we relate it. This is sort of a requirement for this formula. And so I strongly recommend creating a template and then defaulting to the creation or the linkage of that moving average relation, and then making sure that that becomes the default for all views within that database. So now if we create a new page, notice how that automatically is related to the moving average summary. So if I add 4, we can see 4 added to that list. And so now that we have the list, we can move on to finding the average of that list. I'm going to do Control Shift, tab over a few times, and then title this average. And so this is the sort of powerful aspect of Notion formulas, is once we've defined the list variable, we can do list dot mean, which is measuring average, open and close it, and then add a comma. And so now if we remove list and title it average, we get the average of 3.8 across these 5 numerical entries. And so that's a really helpful way to sort of understand and start learning Notion formulas if you haven't already. This let's formula is very powerful because you can define almost as many variables as you need for most circumstances and then manipulate them in this way to sort of streamline the coding aspect of Notion formulas. So again, this window is basically the index or the window size of this moving average. And so I'm just going to title this index is equal to the window size, which is just the property of this moving average database entry. And the way that we're going to be able to use this number and manipulate the window size of the moving average is by using the slice formula. And that's going to be really helpful to index the list and filter out the most recent 5, most recent 30, or however many entries that you want to measure the average of as it pertains to a window. So in our case, maybe we can call this window as the specified average within a certain window. And so the slice formula, like I mentioned, allows us to return the items of the list from the provided start index to the end index. And so this allows us to only take into account the first 5, first 30, or whatever number of entries that you want to include when calculating this average. And so we already have the list that we created and defined. So we can do list because that's the array of numbers that we're pulling from. And then the index is the window size that we've specified. And so what this does, as you can see, after we defined it, I'm going to delete it and just define window to see how that looks. And because window is empty right now, we're not seeing a output, but let's do 3, for example. And what we see here is 9 and 4. So as you can see, it's filtering out the most recent entries based on that window. And so if we change this to 1, we see 2, 3, 9, and 4. This is happening because it's pulling all numbers besides the first one, which is 1. If we do 2, notice how it negates the first 2 entries and it only shows 3, 9, and 4. So currently with this formula, we're only able to pull the reverse order of the most recent entries. And so our workaround for this is, because we want to inverse this process, we can go to our formula, go to index, and then add a negative symbol in front of window. So now we're reversing that ordering. And so a window of 2 specifies the 2 most recent, 4 and 9, and a window of 1 just shows the 4, or the most recent entry 5 metric that we were measuring. And so this is a really important distinction of adding that negative symbol to sort and filter by the most recent. And now that we're here and we want to calculate the mean, we just click on dot mean, open and close, and now we have the average of 4 showing. If I change this window to 2 now, we see 6.5 because 9 plus 4, which is 13, divided by 2 is 6.5. And so this is the numerical summary that we've calculated based on this slicing attribute and this window variable that we've created. Now let's say when window is empty, what do we want it to calculate? Right now we haven't specified a condition for when window is empty, and so moving average appears as nothing. So to add that condition and to account for when the window property is empty, we can do ifs empty window. So notice how when I typed in window, I had 2 things come up: the variable that I defined window and then the property window. And so again, it's good formula etiquette to name the variables differently from the properties so that you don't confuse yourself. And I wanted to just name it this way to show you how that works so that you're intentional with properties and variables and how you manipulate them. And so I want to create a condition where if the property window is empty, then I just want to find the average, which we've already defined. And then if not, to show the window, which takes into account the window property to formulate the recency and how many of those entries we want to account for. So now we can close that out, and we've crafted our formula for customizing our moving average based on a window we specify, and then defaulting to average as well. If I change this to 1, it's going to just show 4. If I change this to 2, it's going to show 6.5. Change this to 5, for example, it's going to take the average of those 2 numbers, which is 4.5. If I do Windows 3, we take the average of 3, 5, and 4, which is 4. As you can imagine, we can change this default to 30, for example. For index, we can easily duplicate this formula and just change this simply to 30 within the index, and then just show window when that is specified. So again, this is just an example of how we can use a simple number property to further customize a formula and create different conditions in which we want to analyze or manipulate data. As you can imagine, we can do more than just mean. There's median and any other mathematical formulation that you might want to experiment with. And so hopefully this gives you some insight and maybe some new ideas on how you might be able to manipulate the slice formula function that I covered, as well as the sorting through the filtered function I've specified here, and then the let's function if you haven't used it yet as well. I meant to make this sort of a short video. It's been a minute since I've recorded a video, so still getting used to it and getting into the swing of things. But hope you have a great year ahead, and there's a good chance I might make a few more of these sort of simplified but highly useful and effective formula functions that might be valuable to your workspace or your organization. Like I mentioned earlier, Notion AI and Notion Formula AI specifically are pretty impressive, and it's basically putting myself out of a job in some ways with the clients I serve. And so things are moving fast, things are changing fast, and I think my next focus will be Notion AI agents and how we can sort of use those to go even further with everything that's already covered in this channel. Anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this valuable, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.